Hello, friends. Hello. Welcome back to the moon video. And I am here with Sarah to share about the energies of the upcoming new moon in Capricorn, which we have on December 30th. Now, if you are feeling that urge that often comes over us at the end of one year before we head into the other to, set some goals, to feel like what have I achieved and what do I really want to achieve? Yet you're also recognizing that you don't really want to go into some of the typical goals that society puts on us, like the diet, the exercise, the routines, but you're really in fact feeling more inclined to dig deep within yourself to feel like what is something that I actually really want to do, create, share, but you've been telling yourself for a long time you can't. But right now it's really coming up. Yeah, that is you definitely feeling this Capricorn new moon because this Capricorn new moon really wants to help us ground into our authentic ambitions. And that's actually the theme that I identified for this new moon is grounding into our authentic ambition. And Capricorn is like probably one of the most ambitious of the zodiac signs.
Definitely.
They love to produce, they love to do, they love to plan, they love to strategize.
Achieve.
Yes, achievement and success. Yet there can be on the shadow side of Capricorn a little bit of using that achievement and success in kind of like a workaholic type way as a coping strategy to not actually feel the intense emotions that they actually feel. Capricorn is actually a sister sign. That's how I call it, the sister sign or the sibling signs when it's direct opposite. Is what is the
That's
term for that,
sweet.
Sarah? What I call it the sister sign, but I could be
I
wrong.
mean, I like that one as well. I mean, it's like known as like the polar
The polar.
axis because
Got it.
they're, polar
Opposite.
opposites.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's of the same energy, so they're related.
exactly.
So I love the sister signs. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's Capricorn and Cancer. And we've talked about Cancer a lot. I'm a Cancer. Cancer is known to be extremely emotive, which means that that energy does actually travel over to Capricorn as well. And Capricorn feels things deeply. And Capricorn, as part of their coping strategies, like, I'm just going to create with this,
Yeah.
which is actually quite beautiful. But what's interesting with this particular new moon is that it's almost like there's this sense of it. We can feel what we are being conditioned to set as goals, which is what most people will set as their New Year's goals, and which usually taper out by the end of the month because they were never authentic to begin with. They're conditioned and forced upon us. This particular new moon is really asking us to go deeper and to dig up that thing inside that just feels like I need to create this. I need to share this. It's so important to who I am. And for some reason, we've been telling ourselves maybe we can't, we don't have the capacity. It's too big, it's too much. This new moon is like, no, no, it's not too big. It's not too much. You can do it. You can do
Yes.
it. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I was picking up on. Especially when I was feeling it intuitively to the energy of this new moon. It was really, really honing in on put aside all those goals that are like forced upon you. That's not what this is about. This is really about clear focus and like real like discipline dedication to something that is so integral to you. So I'm curious about some of the astrology because this is something that I just picked up intuitively, but I'm wondering if any of the astrology kind of points to that same theme, Sarah.
Yes. I mean, absolutely. So in this new moon chart, we have a Mars opposite to Pluto
Mm,
transit, which is exact on January 2nd. So it's not on the same day, but on the day of this new moon, this transit is 1 degree apart. So it's still pretty close, it's
yeah.
still pretty tight. And the Mars opposite to Pluto transit isn't necessarily fun and lovely. If this sounds familiar, it's because it has happened already. And it will happen 3 times because of the Mars retrograde. So it happened once in November, on November 3rd. Um, while Mars is moving forward, now Mars is in retrograde, so it's hitting this connection again. And then once Mars moves forward, it will hit it for a third and final time in April. So with this time around, Mars is retrograde, like I mentioned. So Mars rules our motivations, our desires, our actions, um, and our physical energy and kind of how we go about doing things.
Yeah. Like our
Um,
motivation. I think of Mars a
yeah,
lot as our motivation.
exactly. And yeah, so whenever Mars is in retrograde, it has us reflecting on all those things first and foremost. So that already relates to what you were picking up on for this new moon about really reflecting on what our motivations are rather than just, taking them from an outside force.
Yeah.
Now, Mars is in Leo, which has to do like with us as individuals and our creativity and, our self-worth and being worthy of shining in the spotlight,
Yeah.
right? And Pluto represents a lot of things. It represents transformation, your subconscious. It also represents like survival skills. Um, and it generally represents like kind of like more societal things as well too. And so
Yeah.
with it being in Aquarius, as we know, this is more representative of like the collective.
Yeah.
So an opposition is always asking us for balance. And so this is
Mm.
a balance between ourselves as individuals and what we want to create and what we want to be recognized for, and the needs of the collective,
Mm.
the needs of transforming the collective, the needs of creating something new with the collective. So that's kind of what this energy is about. And so when you're talking about, balancing our needs and motivations with the collective's need for transformation, that's what's being asked to be balanced here. And I mean, yes, it can be kind of a volatile transit
Hmm.
if it's not known about and if we, you know, because our skills can be kind of triggered a little bit. And
Yeah.
if we fall into that, it can come out in an aggressive way. But
Yeah.
since you're here listening now, you know about it. And so we can channel that into something more intentional, which is like, well, any frustrations that you may come up with, if we can take a pause and really think about it, it gives us the opportunity to actually dig deep into what our true motivations are. Why is this frustrating you? Is there something that you're restricting yourself from accessing or gaining because you think that you can't have it, you're not good
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
any of those kind of fears or self-doubts are going to come to the surface. Or they
Yeah.
may come to the surface and it may feel
Yeah.
icky,
Well,
but then you can work on it.
well, it's so interesting because that sense of like I can't do it. I don't have the capacity. I really felt that
Yeah,
intuitively when I was feeling into this moon. And like that, it feels like this moon in particular, that's where it wants to create like a transformation for us. It wants to, with this Capricorn new moon, second new moon of the month, which I don't even think we talked about that
we
briefly.
didn't.
No, okay, we have to talk about
Not
that
on
too.
here. We did.
Okay. Anyway, so with this being the second new moon of the month, the black new moon, which we'll talk about, and with it also like really wanting us to hone in on something so authentic to us. I totally just lost my train of thought because I got confused with the black new moon. So sorry, we'll come back. It's
It'll
important.
come
We'll come
back.
back.
It'll
It'll
come
come back.
back.
But let's talk about the black new moon for a second because yes, this Capricorn new moon is referred to as a black new moon because it's the second new moon we have in the month. We actually started December with a new moon and we're concluding December with a new moon, which I think is quite lovely and kind of synchronistic, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, and when we have a second new moon in 1 month, it's just an amplified potential for change. And I think also with this being the last month of 2024, moving into 2025, that already feels so freaking volatile. We're not even
yeah.
there yet, and we're already like, ah, you know?
I mean, we start the year off with this Mars opposite to Pluto, like on the second
Yeah,
day of the year. So
yeah.
let's go, baby.
Yes, exactly. But before we even get into that, we have this invitation
Yeah,
from the Capricorn new moon to really, really hone in on what am I from the soul-led level? What am I here to create, to share, to, yeah, to do in this world?
yeah,
Um, and I think with some of the volatility of the outside world, it actually allows us to kind of have a little bit more of a blinder, a little bit more discernment, to not have all that external conditioning kind of upon us so that we can actually for this New Year's time, which I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions, I'm not a fan of New Year's goals. To me, it feels completely unnatural to set huge goals in the dead of winter. So, but I love working with the moon. And when we have a new moon right at the end of the year, we know that we have an invitation to set new intentions, to be intentional, to get clear, to set seeds, to start manifesting. So, this is one of the years that I would say, yeah, let's set some New Year's intentions. I'm not going to say resolutions, I'm not going to say goals, because again, I don't find that those words resonate very well.
Me
But
neither.
this is a
Yeah.
perfect time to really set an intention for something that you authentically want to bring forward
Right.
in this world. And I am really of the belief that if more and more of us tap into that authenticity and bring forward what authentically wants to come from us, that will have a larger ripple effect on society, on the
100%.
collective, as opposed to what we do now, which is take on all the hurt of the world and feel powerless with it and then just leak our energy from our heart space.
Yes, which is a totally understandable response,
Yes, been
but
there, done that, still do
right.
sometimes. Yes.
Right. No, I fully agree that I mean, that's why I love astrology. That's why I love human design, anything like that that kind of shows us the way we were meant to be and work with our energy here in this lifetime. That I think that's why it's so important so that we can see that we're all unique beings and we kind of come together as this puzzle with all the different pieces that fit together and like, oh, I can do this, I can do
Yeah.
that, and this is how I shine, this is how you shine.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do think it's a life journey to understand what that is, but definitely, I think that's what this time, this astrology is pointing to is like a lot of that coming together, especially the astrology of 2025. It's just all about stepping into your personal power.
Yeah.
All this stuff is going to be going on in the outside world, and all
Yep.
that does is test your personal power and so that you can have a deeper understanding of who you are with all this noise outside like
Exactly.
doubling down on who you are.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I saw this meme the other day on social media that I think really speaks to that, which is like when the world gets really loud and things get really scary, consume less, create more. That
Mhm.
feels like so much of the energy of this Capricorn new moon, to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
is to really tap into your creative energies and like what authentically wants to come for through you.
Yes.
Um, Now, I also want to speak a little bit to just the balance of winter with the Capricorn energy. Now, for those in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a little different. For those in the Southern Hemisphere, that Capricorn energy paired with summer solstice is just like, let's just do all the things. We're here for it. But for those of us in winter, I actually find winter solstice, which is the start of Capricorn season, to be such a beautiful, even poetic balancing act because Capricorn is so focused on productivity and achievement for it to pair with the energy of winter, which is really about the benefits of dormancy and how dormancy
Mhm.
actually increases our productivity and that it's actually good to slow down and feel. I just think it's such a beautiful reminder for that Capricorn energy that the best way for us to achieve in this world is actually when we do slow down and let ourselves feel and actually create from that feeling place as opposed to just that coping place.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, on top of that too, Capricorn is it's an earth sign, it's a cardinal, but it's a receptive sign as
Yeah.
well. So it's one that takes in the energy around it before taking initiative and understanding what
Ooh.
it is.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I wanna ask you a little bit more about that. I usually like start off saying, yes, Capricorn, Cardinal, Earth. So sorry about that, that I forgot to mention that this time. My brain is like leaving Gemini season reluctantly.
Sagittarius season, but just
Oh my
as wild
gosh.
all over the place.
Yes, thank you. Not Gemini
Yeah.
season. I'm thinking about the last moon we had in Gemini, which was already
And
two
that's
weeks
still
ago,
here too.
a week and a
Yeah,
half ago.
right?
Anyway,
All the things.
my
And
brain.
you know what? We're just there's lots of retrogrades. It's a Saturday. Like
It's all
It's all,
good.
we're
Perimenopause,
good.
you know, all the things.
Yes.
I'm just here for it.
Hanging in
I'm
there.
proud of you, brain. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
We're doing good
Yeah.
things here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but going back to Capricorn as that like cardinal earth energy, we know cardinal signs are really about initiation. They like to be the starters of things. It reminds me a lot of in human design of projector energy. Like they tend to like see that
Yeah.
greater picture and like have this kind of, ooh, here's the trend, here's the theme, and then like everyone else is like, okay, now you do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um,
Absolutely.
but I often think about, and this is how I've learned it. But I think about, with the polar axis between Cancer and Capricorn, I think a lot about Cancer being that kind of quintessential mother energy of the zodiac and Capricorn kind of being that quintessential father energy of
Yeah.
the zodiac, but that doesn't always um extrapolate into like gender, right?
No. It's
Because
like the archetype more
right,
so of
exactly.
each. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you can be of in a female body and have a lot more like father energy, and you could be in a male body
Right.
and have a lot more mother energy, which is actually how my
Right.
parents were. So you know what I mean? Like,
Same, actually.
yeah, so it's an archetypal thing. But I want to hear more what you just shared about how Capricorn is actually receptive because Capricorn is so focused on like the output with the productivity and I mean, achievement is both in and out, I think. But when
Yes.
I think about
Yes.
Capricorn, they focus so much on what they're producing, which to me is very much an outer kind of giving energy, a more masculine energy. I love what you just shared about it being receptive first, and I've never heard that before. So I would love for you to share more on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's these like, what are called polar characteristics of each sign. Like
Hmm.
there's more feminine,
Yes.
masculine, there's active, passive,
Yeah.
and there's, um, yeah, active and receptive, where it's more like going outwards is more active, and reception is really just about a lot of these have to do with being more like feminine and like
Yeah.
bringing in the energy and like going with the flow rather than initiating. But I like that it's a different characteristic from like the cardinal because it's both initiating,
Yeah.
but it's being receptive first. So it's about really taking in the energy, going with the flow, and then enacting out of that space.
Yeah.
So like,
I love that too because I realize it actually speaks to the theme I identified for this new moon, which is grounding into your authentic ambition. And
yes,
grounding is a receptive energy. And I think most
right.
people don't recognize that. I think most people think that grounding is just simply like feeling your feet on the earth and just getting present in that way. Or maybe even, if people do energy work like we do, like extending your energetic roots down into earth, right? But grounding is actually receiving earth energy into your body. So,
Yes, yes,
the fact that I identified this theme of first we ground, we take the earth energy into our body as a way like to receive what we need to tap into that deep, authentic ambition within us.
yes. And all earth and water signs are receptive. And so for
Yeah,
earth to be, that makes sense. For earth to be very grounding, it's receiving. And it's also kind of like we're going with the pattern of what's going, is like going with the flow, which is water.
yeah.
So just a quick way to kind of remember these things as well too. It's like
So
being
like
with that those elements.
so just, just as an example, Mars would be more of a active planet.
Well, these characteristics go with the
Oh,
signs.
sorry, you're right. I am
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, that's
So, okay.
okay.
So
That's
let's
okay.
let's let's think of a sign that would be more just because I'm learning and my brain is like, give me
Yeah.
an example. So what about like Sagittarius?
Sagittarius is
Fire.
a fire sign, so then it would be active. It's
Yeah,
also known
okay.
as like more masculine as well too. And again, the archetypes of
Yeah,
masculinity,
right.
femininity, things
Exactly.
like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that little lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And but what's interesting too, just to think about Mars and what you said, Mars rules Aries, which
Yeah.
was is a fire sign and therefore an active. And in modern astrology, it also rules Scorpio, which is a
Mm.
receptive sign. So Mars can be manifested and understood in both sides. And I think
Yeah.
if that's true for a lot of them. yeah, it is like Venus rules Libra, which is an air sign, and therefore it's an active sign, but it also rules Taurus. So I
For
want to
sure.
say a lot of those planets kind of have one in each. It's
Oh, I like
the
that.
sun would be active, the
Yes.
moon would only be receptive. Um, so yeah, just an
Yeah.
interesting little I like that's what I like about it's like the planets do a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
they can play both sides for a lot
Well,
of things.
I mean I love it's a and this is a beautiful reminder. I mean, we're actually filming this on winter solstice, so it's a really beautiful reminder that winter solstice gives us as well, which is that, our shadow and our light are equally important. They're equally
Exactly.
desired, they're equally valid and valuable to us, right? Like there is even though I understand from like this perspective of the universe, it goes beyond duality, but we also know there's a lot that we see in duality in this universe to help us balance ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like they say two sides of the same coin, if you
Yeah.
will, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why in my moon blogs, that's why I share about kind of the light attributes of the sign as well as the shadow attributes of the sign, because we will have the capacity to experience both of those.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean anything's wrong. It
Right.
doesn't mean anything's wrong.
Exactly.
So going back to the theme of, grounding into your authentic ambition, you can head over to the moon blog where I give some examples of how to do that. But what we really want to do with this new moon is like give ourselves some time and space to reflect on what truly lights us up, like what really brings forward that motivation, that sense of ambition, that sense of creativity. And then also really ask yourself, like, what have you been really like kind of desiring, yearning to create, and you've been telling yourself you can't? Because this moon really wants to tell you, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yep.
Um, Another great way is to, and this is something that I work through because I hate the word discipline. It doesn't say anything about me. Nothing. But that word in particular is so like it's just a constrictive word for me. But what I notice is if I say the word dedication or if I put the word dedicated in front of discipline, then the word itself I can like open to.
Feel softer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it feels discipline to me feels like something someone tells me to do as opposed to
Right.
dedication, which is something that I want to do
Yes.
and I'm committing to from an intrinsic place.
Right.
And this new moon in Capricorn wants to help us do that, wants to help us find that place of dedication inside of ourselves that can actually
Yes.
feed the disciplined action that we need to like get some actually make something happen, like take the actions from there.
Yeah.
Now we're not
That's
going to
that
take
Mars.
right, exactly. Which
Yeah.
when is Mars going direct again? Is that going to
February
be?
24th.
Okay.
We
Okay.
got some time.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
hanging.
Yeah. But we're still doing a lot still.
Yeah.
Reflection is a great way to
Yeah.
continue to create, I think. Reflection
Yeah.
is a great way to continue to create as well. Um,
Absolutely. With authenticity, it's the only
exactly.
way so that you can really assess what's going on. Yeah.
Exactly. And with this new moon, of course, it's not just going, oh, there we go. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to set my intention and I'm going to do all the things and it's going to happen right now. That's never the way it works. When it comes to the new moon itself, the new moon is really about planting the seed, getting clear on the intention. So if the first thing that comes through for you with this Capricorn new moon is like, oh no, actually, I want to focus my attention on this thing that I've been putting on. Maybe it's your podcast. Maybe you want to start a blog. Maybe you want to start a essential, like a flower run. Who knows, whatever, a flower business, like whatever it is, you're going to feel that sense of that inclination, that seeding of it inside of you. And that is how a new moon works. Now, if you love working with the moons themselves and want to get a little bit clearer on how to work with the phases of the moon for your own empowerment, for co-creating more magically in life, I'm very excited to share. We have a gift for you, friends, just in time for holiday season, just in time for this Capricorn new moon, and just in time for 2025. We have a free moon magic guidebook for you, which takes you through every phase of the moon and how you can work with those phases. We have plant and crystal allies for you to use. There's journal areas in the back for you to really personalize your own work with the moon phases. And this is totally free. All you have to do is click the link down there, put in your email so we can send you the digital file. And this is just our way of saying thank you and honoring the work we love to do with the moon and just sharing some of her magic even more with you all. So go down there, click on the link, enter your email, and you will get this free moon guide. And there's more exciting stuff to come as well. This Capricorn new moon work comes at a really great time for us, Sarah, because
Yeah.
we actually have been working on something for a very long period of time, and we're really in launch mode right now. So this Capricorn new moon just feels very confirming for us to stay focused on what we've been creating this whole time. And I just want to
Yes.
state again, when you start working intentionally with the moon, she starts working intentionally with you back, and things just start naturally aligning with lunar cycles and lunar phases. And it's really very magical.
And
So,
supportive.
very supportive, very supportive. So, this is a free resource for you all. We want to wish you a very happy new moon in Capricorn. You might be watching this before the actual holidays. So, if so, happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Yule, whatever it might be. Enjoy the light, be the
Yeah.
light, spread the light, and also get nice and cozy in the dark because she's not so bad either.
Yeah. That's me.
Sarah, anything you want to share at the end here?
No, just, have a good rest of the year, and I hope you start off getting more in alignment with yourself
Mm.
and not those outside of ourself
Ooh,
goals. Let's step into
amen.
our power. This is
Yeah,
the year. This is the
yeah.
year.
Yeah, amen to that. And if you guys are curious about a year ahead, what's coming in 2025, Sarah and I actually have already filmed a 2025 astro and energy forecast that's going to be available. We'll share with you a little bit more about that in our next moon video, but that will be available both within our community space as well as we'll have it available if someone is just interested in purchasing it. We'll have that available as well. So thank you guys so much. Happy new moon in Capricorn. And we really hope that you feel that inspiration and that motivation and that capacity and capability to create what you have always wanted and known you can create. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Happy new moon, friends. Bye.